Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys are doing well. In today's video, let's talk about this topic. So apparently a certain cohort of young women are opting out of dating and sex in 2024. This form of sobriety encourages women in their 20s to take a break from romance. This movement is led by American comedian Hope Watered. I'm not sure if I'm saying her last name correctly, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on my screen. But she is spreading a trend for what she terms going boy sober. In her words, it's about removing the fake sense of validation that we get from dating, situationships, and sleeping around, and instead refocusing that energy towards developing yourself. According to Woodard, the rules of being boy sober are as follows: no dating apps, no dates, no access, no situationships, and no hugs and kisses for 1 year. The idea of going boys over has emerged at a time when there's an awkward fascination with the fact that Gen Z 20 somethings are seen to be drinking less, going clubbing less, and having sex less. So when I heard of this movement, I thought this is actually a very good development. Finally, women are waking up and realizing that giving yourself away outside of marriage is very destructive. Premarital sex and fornication is destructive to both men and women, but most especially to young women. Giving yourself away outside of marriage, piling up the body count, diminishes your value as a woman. And in the process, it leaves a lot of emotional scars and trauma, and it's the cycle of heartbreak, rejection, and in the process, you're destroying yourself. And eventually, you do end up bringing that from one relationship to the next. And when you bring that into a marital relationship, it is very problematic. So I think the movement got that part right. It is very important to encourage young women to be sober from boys. But here is the misguided view. This movement is not encouraging women to be sober from boys because that's the right thing to do. The movement suggests that men should take a closer look at the mirror and consider whether they're part of the problem. So when I was looking at that, I thought, well, that's pointing a finger to someone, blaming someone else for your own actions. They want men to realize that women might sometimes seek to take stuff away from you, but usually with the best intentions. Now, this is not quite similar, but it reminded me of this. You know, when a wife is retaliating and she's withholding sex from her husband because she wants to get her points across, or she wants him to realize that she's mad about something. That form of retaliation. I see a lot of good points in this movement, but that part of it, blaming someone else for your own actions and not taking responsibility, that intention is wrong. I think we should encourage single young women to be sober from boys because that's the right thing to do. And not just for a year, hopefully before marriage. There's a lot of good things that come out of waiting patiently, and keeping yourself physically and emotionally intact allows for that smooth transition into the married life. Now, you would also notice that there's a bit of a difference when it comes to how men and women deal with physical relationships. For men, it can be purely physical, but for women, it's so much more than just sex. You would notice that people in general, but specifically women who have so many sexual partners before marriage, have a very difficult time bonding or committing to one person. On the other hand, men who are addicted to pornography have a very difficult time being content and being happy with one woman because their idea of intimacy has been corrupted. Now let's talk about self-development. I've mentioned that this movement also encourages women to refocus that energy towards developing yourself or oneself. And I think that's very important. I really like that part. But I've noticed that women talking about this were mainly focused on one aspect of development, which is me, myself, and I. I've heard of some saying that, well, now that I'm not dating, I have plenty of time in my hand. I can now focus on being healthy, on my fitness, on my friends, and doing whatever it is that makes me happy, my career. I mean, all of that is good development, but I think you can also develop yourself by learning how to reach out to others, to other people. What I mean with that is learning how to serve others. And you can do that by, volunteer work, whether that's your church, your community, your own family, and extended family. And in the process of doing that, you're also developing your own moral character. So think of yourself like a magnet. Good attracts good and bad attracts bad. It really depends on what kind of magnet you are and what kind of magnets you've surrounded yourself with. Now, as I've mentioned, I really like this movement because I think it is a good start. It is good to encourage single young women to be sober from boys. Now, they also mentioned two things that I thought were also very good: drinking less and going clubbing less. Now, I think it's very important to encourage young women in general, to be sober from alcohol and bad influence. A lot of women do end up giving themselves away because they're not in control of themselves because they're drunk. Now, when it comes to self development, no matter how much you try, if you've surrounded yourself with bad influence, bad friends, bad company who are influencing you to do or to make bad choices, it's not going to work. So be sober from bad friends and bad influence. Now, I will conclude this conversation with this amazing post that I saw on Philippine Social Conservative Group. They are actually on Facebook. I saw one of their posts and I thought this is a really good post. And this is especially for the ladies. It says, "Dear ladies, boyfriends shouldn't get husband privileges. Being a wife to your boyfriend doesn't guarantee a ring. Know your worth, demand respect, and let actions speak louder than words." I'll see you guys on my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.